Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the thrilling, or hopefully thrilling, conclusion to this best of three series between Liquid's TLO and ENC's Serral. The game will take place on Thunderbird LE, and I'm hoping that it is as exciting as the last few games. In the first game, of course, we had the all-out Ling aggression from Liquid's TLO, that did some fairly considerable damage. Not immediately, but with some perseverance, he was able to get in and knock Serral's defenses down, and then just kind of slowly begin to out macro him whilst defending any counter aggression that Serral was forced to go for. We can see here that Serral is going for an early hatchery once again, which will be matched by TLO. This has been fairly standard throughout the series thus far. There's no player looking for a super early pool or speed. We do see the gas going down now for TLO, but no spawning pool to match it just yet, although he is banking up minerals to around about the 200 mark, so I would expect him to throw it down any second now. There we go. It might be that he's looking to get the speed timing a little bit more synced up with the finishing of the spawning pool than he was before, indicating that he cares a little bit more about the speed than he did in the previous games. We can see that Serral has also thrown down a gas and matched it with his own pool, and that they're only a couple of seconds apart, with TLO's being slightly faster. The scouting overlords for each player will arrive at the enemy base any moment, and we'll see a fairly standard game taking place between both players. It really wouldn't surprise me to see both players be pretty. Oh, it really wouldn't surprise me if both players were pretty happy with the situation they've ended up in. Both of them are double producing queens. I'd expect to see TLO start his scouting lings any second. But yeah, we're in that slow lull of an early game that we are so used to seeing when both players decide to commit to what looks like a third base each. I know that TLO is going for it, and we can see a drone heading over for Serral as well. Neither player is indexing particularly heavily on lings, so if we just have a quick look at what both players can see, Serral has identified the second base and is about to identify the third, and we can see that the natural base has been scouted by TLO with the edge of that creep there giving it away, and that he also has an overlord heading over to the third base, although slightly slower than before. There was a small poke up the ramp from Serral's lings here, but that didn't do a huge amount and has been easily deflected without giving too much away, although there's not a lot to give away in this situation. Both players have decided that massing lings is the way to go, and if those lings from Serral do pass the Overlord, I would like to see both players throw down a defensive spine crawler or a defensive baneling nest, because although this isn't a huge flood of lings, the only scouting information that both of them have right now is that both players are building quite a few lings despite the third base. Maybe they feel pretty safe, a little bit of pressure down to the third there from TLO. And it looks like both of them are confident that they're at equal points in the game and that they won't have to worry about building any spine crawlers or anything. We do see that the Roach Warren has gone down for... We do see that the Roach Warren... Sorry, I hit the wrong button and tabbed us back a little bit there. The Roach Warren has gone down for for ENC's Serral, and that his third base did finish up ever so slightly faster. We are going to rewatch the small skirmish here. Didn't amount to anything at all. And yeah, it looks like TLO for now is happy to index on the lings and the banelings, whereas Serral is going for the roach style of play. Indeed, he is throwing down at least one evolution chamber, so it looks like we'll be getting that early missile attacks. And this makes me wonder what TLO is going to do, because we saw in the game I casted the other day between TLO and Soul Lear that Lings can do reasonably well into roaches in smaller numbers, particularly when they have upgrades. And banelings, while they're not very cost efficient, can help the lings win those trades. But when the roach player manages to get his missile attacks up, when he gets that death ball of roaches, it really doesn't matter how many lings you have with some good positioning, and I would expect nothing less from Serral than, impeccable positioning in this game. Then it really does begin to get harder. We're seeing a lair and an evolution chamber come down for TLO. No lair yet for Serral, although I would expect that to be on the horizon reasonably soon, so that he can move into his tier 2 upgrades, should he want to. Neither player has really saturated their third base yet, they're just using it for production, and we saw a small ling poke get very easily deflected there by Serral's roaches at the top of that ramp. If we have a look at the units tab real quick, we can see it's 11 roaches to 23 zerglings and 27 zerglings for Serral. Serral is just winning in army supply right now. We can see that TLO has identified this, and he's very scared of the counterattack that is going to come across the map. He's got banelings and he's got spine crawlers about to finish up. But the question is, will the spine crawlers be enough to deal with these roaches, especially if they hit when they have the +1 timing available to them? They will finish up on time, which is a small mercy. If Serral had been a little bit quicker there, he might have been able to get on top of those spine crawlers when they were building, and in that case I think TLO would definitely just have lost the game. TLO has elected once again to go for mutas, as he did in game number 2, and I think he had some reasonable success with them. That if this gets scouted by Serral and a number of spine crawlers go down in the manner that they did in spore crawlers, forgive me, as they did in the second game, then the mutas should be relatively easily defended. I am very happy to see, I can't quite work out where he was building them, but I am happy to see that TLO has made some Dropper-Lords. There they are, ladies and gentlemen, and he's filled them with banelings and lings. If these Dropper-Lords can get across the map with the pneumatized carapace upgrade, which is about to finish, they could do some serious economic damage to Serral. And if that economic damage goes down and TLO can hold on back at home against the roach push that I assume will come out shortly, then he will be able to stabilize somewhat. It does look like Serral isn't planning on being overly aggressive. He's waiting on Glial Reconstitution, on Zerg missile attacks level 2, and he's waiting on Aspire as well, which means that those Mutalisks will not go unanswered in the skies. And indeed, I don't know if it was spotted by an Overseer yet. No, it hasn't been spotted at all, but his spider senses must be tingling, because he has dropped some spore crawlers and his own Spire. We do see missile attacks flyer attacks level 1 coming out from TLO, which means that he is going to have a much easier time of dealing with the air battles between Mutalisks, if that's what we are going for. But it looks like Serral has just elected to go straight for that Broodlord rush. He's getting Zerg Flyer Carapace, and he's getting Corruptors, which means that these Mutalisks will not be able to win an air fight, but they will be able to trade. We are seeing a Baneling drop. There are 4 Relings go down so far, and that gets mopped up, and there was one in the natural base as well that looks like it managed to do some damage, but nothing crippling to Serral. And you can see that TLO has lost a little bit more this game than Serral, but nothing too game-ending. I think it's just a matter of he made more lings, and those lings are struggling, although that number is now rocketing, because those Mutalisks tried to take a trade which they couldn't win with the Corruptors directly over the army, and have since been chased away. We do not yet have a hive morphing for Serral, so this is just Corruptors so far to shut down the Mutalisks, and other than that, in a fight they will be dead supply. So although the supply lead is still definitely there for Serral, and he has a commanding position in this game, taking out the 4th base of TLO uncontested, there is a lot of dead supply in the air with those Corruptors. They will be able to use their drain ability to snipe down a building or two, and the most important thing they can do actually right now is pick off overlords to deny drops and also to deny vision. TLO is really going to struggle if he can't keep overlords on the map, because he's going to lose track of what's going on very quickly, and it's going to give Serral unbridled freedom to move around, position where he wants, set up ambushes, and TLO has no realistic way of dealing with this. We can see that there is now nearly a 50 supply lead for Serral, and while some of that is in the Corruptors, Roaches are still going to trade very well with the superior upgrades into these Zerglings from TLO, and he doesn't really have anything else on the ground, so the Corruptors are still going to be very useful here if they can pin down the Mutalisks, because the ground battle is already going to be won for Serral, like in game number 2, and there are no Ultralisks yet. I do like the Infestation Pit. Fungals and the utility of Infestors can help TLO here, but it's going to be an upwards climb, because Corruptors are very tanky in the air, and even with those Fungals helping the Mutalisks out should they land, it's not going to be easy for TLO to take the air fight and win it. We do see some Spine Crawlers going up back at home. Oh, and we see the main engagement. The Banelings are not getting fantastic hits here, and a lot of the Zerglings have already melted to the Roach Force. The Corruptors chasing the Mutalisks away. And here we can see that some static defense has been rallied into the middle of the map for TLO. I can't help but feel like this is a mistake. And a pretty big one as well. He's just bleeding minerals right now that he could have had at home defending his bases to Serral's Roaches. The Corruptors are going on the attack, searching for that Mutalisk flock, trying to keep them back at home. And here, ladies and gentlemen, we have the death blow being prepared. We have the Hive, which means Broodlords are going to be on their way very quickly. If the game lasts that long, the Corruptors are on top of the Mutalisks, and even though the +2 flyer is about to kick in, no, the game is over. Yet again, ladies and gentlemen, we had TLO go for a Mutaswap that was very effectively dealt with by Serral. And although TLO put up one hell of a series here, he does bow out 2-1, defeated by our Finnish phenom, Serral. This was the expected result for this series. It was an entertaining one, nonetheless. Yeah, and that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The 2-1 for Serral. Well played to both players, and I'll look forward to bringing you another match cast of another replay very soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.